And so on a happy note, we were then married. My sponsor told me that if I wanted to form a relationship with my higher power, it would be necessary for me to change. At a meeting one night, a member said, "It's not how much you drink, it's what drinking does to you." That statement changed my whole attitude. Of course, I had to surrender and accept I was an alcoholic. I had a hard time giving up anger at my ex-wife for taking my kids, and the man who murdered my mother, and at my father for what I felt was deserting me. But these resentments eased with time as I began to comprehend my own defects of character. I became acquainted with some monks in a nearby monastery who listened to my story with some amazement and were able to help me understand myself. At the same time, my sponsor and the other old-timers who had taken us under their wings loved us back to join society. Gradually, the us that was in my heart melted and changed as my relationship with my higher power grew. Life began to take a whole new meaning. I made what amends were possible, but I knew I would have to return to my childhood home to clear up that part of my past. But we were busy with our own paint contracting company now, and as the years passed by, the opportunity to go back home just did not come. As the months following the day we quit drinking have turned into years, I have become increasingly more devoted to the program that saved not only my life, but my wife's also. Eventually, I became involved in AA service and helped out the central office started for our groups. We both became active in general service, and I began traveling all over the state going to meetings. To my surprise, both of us were given the opportunity to serve as delegates to the General Service Conference. What a joy we found in this. One of my most memorable moments was when, at the opening of the conference, the chairman of the AA's General Service Board said, "We are all gathered here tonight, not as individuals, but for the betterment of Alcoholics Anonymous all over the world." The years flashed back when I was on the gates outside that very hotel, frantically trying to keep from freezing. I was overwhelmed by God's grace just to be there. One day, a friend of mine who writes for a living asked me if I could write the story of my life for a magazine. He assured me there would be no anonymity problem, so I agreed. I had been sober for almost 25 years at this time, and had no idea what God, as I understood him, was about to do for me. My oldest brother, the one who had taken me in, just happened to subscribe to this magazine, and just happened to read the article. Thus began an amazing chain of events that altered not only our lives, but the lives of my family and many others. It is nothing short of a modern-day miracle God has done for me what I could not do for myself. The article gave the name of the town I live in, so after my brother and sister-in-law finished reading the story, they called the directory assistants and phoned me. The first time we had spoken in more than 30 years. I burst into tears, and so did they. They told me that after my disappearance following the divorce, my family had tried repeatedly to locate me. They were concerned because someone had told them I was either dead or had left the country. I felt bad that I had worried them like that, but in my self-centeredness, it simply never occurred to me that they cared that much. One by one, I talked to all my brothers and sisters in the next 24 hours. My brother gave me the phone number of my own daughter, whom I hadn't seen in 27 years, and I called her. Next, I talked to both my sons. Oh God, what an experience. I was so overwhelmed by the memories and the lost years that it was difficult for me to even speak. I spent several weeks crying as all the old hurts rose to the surface and were healed. Later, we had a big family reunion back in my hometown. It was a happy day for all of us to be together for the first time since we split up. My father had passed away, but all his children were there, and their families, a large and joyous crowd. Finally, after all those years of wandering about my family, my higher power had acted through my friend to undo their tangled circumstances and allowed me to make amends to the people who had been hurt by my bitterness. I believe that I am living proof of that AA saying, don't give up till a miracle happens.